Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be following Aster's point of view and the repercussions following Chapter 1. Chapter 2. Aster. No. No. I stared, 1,000 shocked thoughts crashing through my head as I watched Adyen slump in the arms of Lars Alfred, leader of the Dark Hearts. Murderer. Blood glinted darkly in the light of the lantern perched atop the gatepost that separated me from my brother. Blood spattered down his arm and shoulder. He didn't move, hadn't even made a sound when the dagger pierced his flesh. And now? Adyen. Lars roughly tossed Adyen's lipped form to the ground and fixed his beady eyes on me. Come here, you. He strode toward me and I yelped, retreating towards the opposite side of the street. Run, my brother had told me. Run. I'm right behind you. But he wasn't going to be. He was... My breath shook. I stirred my feet into action and fled down the cobblestone street, lit only by lanterns to dispel the perpetual darkness. Footsteps pounded against the road behind me, but as I followed the twists and turns of Broton, they faded away. Soon, I was alone, only myself and the bag full of money. My breath sounded loud in the silence. I can't believe you sacrificed yourself like that, you idiot! I shouted at a wall. How dare you act so selflessly noble? How dare you? My voice broke. This was stupid. Adyen couldn't hear me. I would never get to yell at him like that again. Now was the last time. The image of his limp form lying on the ground flickered again in my mind. I clenched at the fabric of his bag. How could you? I blew out a long sigh, my entire body shuddering. I couldn't more now. It wasn't safe out here in the open. Besides, I had to bring this money back to Talia, to make sure all of this would somehow be worth it. Not that any kind of money could ever equal my brother's worth. He was priceless to me, had been so back when we were children and truly alone. He died for this. I looked around, realizing I didn't recognize any of my surroundings. I started walking, my feet wandering through the dark streets, until I started to recognize the landmarks. Shops I knew, the defaced statue of the magnate at a particular intersection. From there, I traced the familiar path back to the hideout. An old storefront, sandwiched between two, far flashier storefronts. It was practically unnoticeable if one wasn't paying attention. Checking my surroundings to make sure there was no one around, I pushed open the door and stepped into the dim interior. We didn't use the front room, so I picked my way through a room covered in dust, the rafters draped in cobwebs, and falling into general disrepair. Knocking on the second locked door, I waited. Who goes there? A muffled voice called. It's Aster. Can I come in? Footsteps sounded, followed by the clatter of a padlock. A second later, the door cracked open, and a single blue eye peered through. Yes, it's me. I'm not an imposter, I huffed. And the door opened the rest of the way, revealing a slender girl a few years younger than me, jet black hair hanging limply around her face. Where's Adyen? Talia asked. I didn't reply, crossing the room and dropping the bag on the table beside a gleaming lantern. Dropping into a chair, I placed my head in my hands and blew out a long sigh, fighting back the heavy sensation settling into my stomach. Aster, Talia limped over to me. What happened? I jabbed the bag with a finger. There, we got your ticket out of here. Talia's eyebrows shot up, and she reached for the bag, turning it upside down. All 3 stacks of papia fell out, hitting the table one after the other. I stared at them through a gap in my fingers, wondering if it had been worth it. I knew it hadn't been. This was my idea. I said we should take the money. I said we should try to trick Lars. And in return, I paid the price. My own twin brother's life. Talia slowly picked up one of the stacks. This is amazing. How did you do it? Courtesy of the painted wolves, I responded dully. I suddenly felt tired. So tired that I wanted nothing more than to lie down and sleep forever. I kept blinking back tears that threatened to slip out and betray me. Aster. Talia set down the money and stared at me. Something happened out there. Adrian's not here, and you haven't said a word about him since you got back. I didn't want to tell her. I didn't want to look Talia in the eye and tell her that I'd lost Adrian. Adrian was the reason why Talia was alive today, and not suffering out on the streets, or long since dead. How could I tell her he was dead? I pressed the heels of my hands against my eyes, and wondered if there was any way I could possibly get out of that. Please? Talia asked softly, and I knew that I had to, whether I wanted to or not. I owed it to her. I sucked in a bracing breath, and I made myself say the words. Adrian, he's dead, Talia, okay? He's dead, and it's all my fault. The moment I spoke the words aloud, the pain exploded within me, and I nearly cried out from the intensity of it. Adrian. Blind, I stumbled upright from my seat and ran for my bedroom. I couldn't stay here. As soon as the door clicked closed behind me, my knees slammed into the hard wooden flooring, followed by my fists. I screamed, both inside myself and outside, as tears streamed down my face. Why? Why had I lost him? Adrian, where are you? Adrian.